Here we are today with Emily Winston of Boichik Bagels. Emily raised $1.235 million on the SMBX platform. There are a total of 466 investors in both of your raises. And your use of funds at that time were for bakery and food service equipment for these new retail shops and also the bagel plant.
Yeah.
Emily, please give us your introduction as well. And, what else did you feel, what other stories you might have starting this, bagel journey?
Oh, Lord. Well, I could fill up like 2 hours with that if you want. Probably most people have some familiarity with my story, but I'm from New Jersey, ate great bagels growing up, moved out to California, thought the bagels here stunk. Got these very sad news that my most beloved bagel, H&H on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, had been shut down for tax fraud, and was so distraught that I would never have that bagel ever again that I decided I would just try figuring out how to make it for myself. So it just became my new obsessive hobby. And after 5 years, and this was not every day or anything, but every so often, I'd try another batch of bagels and make notes and get my friends to try them out, and we would critique them. So 5 years later, I had a great recipe, and people were saying, "Oh, you should sell these." So I thought, well, maybe I'll look into this. So I started taking classes, got a cottage food license, launched as a pop-up, did a few pop-ups just to see, will people who don't know me want to buy my bagels for a good price? And the answer right away was yes. So then I went into this soul searching mode. Do I want to really do this? And did a whole bunch of Excel modeling. Does this look like it has legs? How is this going to work? What are the numbers? Sold myself on the numbers, decided, did a range of scenarios from like just break even to what if we sold 5,000 bagels a day? And decided this was a risk I needed to take, that it looked really promising. So I sold myself on it, decided to do it, built the first store. It was a huge hit. A year later, the New York Times said we're better than New York. All hell broke loose. The 2 hour line around the block. Then I'm like, okay, I think it's time to grow. And then did more soul searching. How do I want to grow it? And I said, I want to build a central factory where we can produce the dough at scale with quality control, faster, better, support a whole bunch of stores, really kind of take over the whole Bay Area, we'd started with wholesale, but grow the wholesale, our frozen 6-packs that are in supermarkets and cafes, all over Northern California and now entering Southern California. Do all these things. So it took a while to build a factory, and I realized the budget was going to be somewhere between $3 to $5 million and needed more money. And one of the places I got more money was SMBX.
Wow, what a great little full circle. I love that. My favorite thing that you actually said during that, though, that I think is so impactful, is that you sold yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
That is such a valuable thing to really point out, just because I think a lot of people, when they're small business owners and entrepreneurs and first starting out, we always hear about this idea of, solving a problem. But I do really believe it is about selling to yourself first, because if you believe in that product and you can sell it to yourself, then you can sell it to anyone. So,
well, I think there's a few things. For me, it's like, okay, the product, I knew I had a great product.
right.
And then so I knew I had a great product. Then it was like, okay, other people also who are not my friends and are just trying to be nice to me are also saying I have a great product. But having a great product doesn't necessarily get you a great business. So I wanted to really analyze what might the business really look like financially, and it looked good. And I wasn't trying to make it aggressively pretty, because it was my whole life I'm putting on the line for this. So I was emptying my piggy bank putting it, putting my personal guarantee on the lease, on everything. So I wanted to feel very good that this was had a likelihood of success.
Yeah.
So having a good product is one thing, having the business work and having the numbers work is another.
Yeah, absolutely. So here, let me move on. There we are. Since you've been on the platform, tell us all of the things that you've been up to since your raise on SMBX.
Well, so we built the factory. We got the factory done and open. We opened it in March of last year, so it's been a year and a quarter for the factory. And then we got started. We're building more stores. We built Santa Clara, we built Larkspur, we just opened our second store. The photo on the right is our Fillmore and Pine Street in San Francisco in Pacific Heights. Just opened that 1 week ago today. We've got more on the way. We've got a third San Francisco store coming. We're going to do another South Bay. We've got a Walnut Creek in the hopper. We're going to go down to Southern California with retail stores. We've started with distributors. We have 3 distributors now, 2 in NorCal and 1 in SoCal. We got so that on the left is our frozen, already sliced 6-pack. So I'm saying it's picking up where lenders left off. So we've got those started to go down to SoCal now. We're in every Erewhon store. We're in Bristol Farms. We're working on some more. We're working on cafe accounts. And this is our custom branded freezer that we've just started rolling out to some stores who are interested in having them. So it's been a really cool thing. And I'm excited about getting this bigger and bigger because most people are not looking for bagels in the freezer. They're looking for if they're in a supermarket, which is not the best place to be looking for bagels in general. But if they're looking for bagels in the supermarket, they're in the bakery section and they're buying these basically already stale bagels off the shelf. And I didn't want to do that. I don't want to sell stale bagels. I want to sell delicious bagels. So that's what we do. We freeze them while they're still fresh. They're already sliced. So they go in the freezer, you take them home, you put them in your freezer, you feel like a bagel, you take it out, you open it up and throw it in the toaster. And, a few minutes later, you've got a delicious bagel to enjoy. So yeah, all of these different pieces, we launched nationwide shipping. So we're doing that now. People are having bagels fly across the country. So you could always do that if you want.
True.
We've
I
had some
think I'm
people in
gonna
New
have
York.
to. Yeah.
We've had some workers go to New York.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot of things doing, opening up DoorDash to all our locations.
Wow. That's
It's
awesome.
it's just it's cool. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of bagels flying around.
I love that. I love it. And now there are just a few questions that I'm going to ask you, and we're going to go through and talk about just really your process. Because there's a few people here that have invested in, obviously, in both of your offerings, investors. We also have some people here that are thinking about possibly raising on SMBX. So my first question for you is, when you were going through this process, raising money, what made you choose SMBX to raise capital?
So I really wanted to do a crowdfunding campaign, and I looked at the different platforms out there, and I wanted it to be debt. I was not interested in selling equity yet. I still haven't sold any equity to anyone.
Amazing.
And you had the fees were better than the competition. And I met with some of the folks and I really liked it. And I saw what was going on the platform. I really liked it. I went to Degrees Plato. I think there was an event there. That's one of the very early raises. And so there's been some local businesses. And I thought it looked really great. And I was like, gosh, I wish this had been around a couple of years earlier when I first started, because I totally would have done it then. But yeah, I was very excited to use SMBX. I thought it was a great platform.
And then this is one of, my favorite questions to ask all the small business owners that have raised on our platform. What did it feel like to see the investments come in during your raise?
Oh, it feels great. And it's yeah, it's really rewarding to see. It's much like how I still love, in the morning, especially on the weekend, and I go outside my shop and there's people lined up and they were so excited to buy bagels and start their weekend off with bagels. It's the same kind of feeling. It's like people they believe in what I'm doing, they trust me. Um, they want to lend me money and they feel confident that I'm going to pay them back and with interest. And it's lovely. It was very rewarding to have that, to watch the numbers go up. It was a distraction because I would keep wanting to keep the screen
Yeah.
open and keep refreshing it. So that was a little bit of a problem, but on the whole, it was really neat. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I always like to brag about you to the other business owners that have been on. I always say Emily was one of the most committed people I saw on social media, engaging with people, interacting, and really just kind of sharing this information, because I feel that a lot of the investors that you had were, some of them were first time investors in something like this. And so it was a really unique way to diversify their portfolio, but also see that local wealth creation, be able to have that right in their neighborhood. You can literally taste the investment, so to speak. And I feel like that's such a rare thing.
Yeah, and that's why I love this as a whole, real portfolio, that I would love to see this become much bigger and more mainstream, because I feel very strongly that with crowdfunding, you're truly investing in stuff, in very tangible businesses who are going to take that money and do something and return it to you, versus the stock market, which is really a casino. And it's not like, you buy stock, it's not going to the company, it's just going to the last person who's just selling you that stock, and it's traded hands, 10 million times already. So you're not actually benefiting the company at all when you buy their stock, other than pushing the stock price up. But this is real, like you're really helping to build stuff, and especially in your community. And I think it's wonderful. And I've been invested in a bunch of other companies on the platform myself. I think it's just delightful, and it's really meaningful, and it makes me very happy to see my money being put to work in real things that are having an impact.
I
So I've
love
been on that side of the table, so I can appreciate them, and I can preach it because I feel, kind of like a evangelist for it, in a very deep way.
Yes, yes, we do. And we appreciate you. And one of the things also that I wanted to ask you about was there anything during the process that surprised you at all, or anything that you really felt, was a great takeaway?
I really appreciated a lot of the media pieces that you guys prepared for me. That was great. A lot of like the Instagram art that was ready to go. That was really cool. Like really you made it very easy on that front. I don't know, I'd say on the whole it was pretty easy. I'd say the hardest part was doing a financial review, because I wanted to raise so much. So I had to get the books reviewed, and that was a fair bit of work.
Yeah.
But in terms of just the raise itself, it was, you know, took some time to plan it out ahead of time, and time to run it. But yeah, it was a great experience. And I will absolutely consider doing it again, when I need more, and hopefully when I build
Well,
build my next factory, as I
I
take
love
over the
that.
world with good bagels.
Yeah, I mean, we're all in, obviously, as Peter was mentioning before. Even his son has a Boichik Bagels t-shirt. So, we're really big fans. I would also like to say that, one of the things that I saw throughout your raise was just how it was so fascinating to see the SMBX community engage with your community and see them come together. For all the small businesses that raise on our platform, that's one thing that I always try to really stress is it's not just on you, it's a partnership. So I loved hearing you mention about the press and all the graphics, because yes, we're very much working together as a team to see that common goal. Great. And so now let's move on. So Peter, I will hand it over to the voice of Peter Barden to pick out some questions. This is your time to all the participants. If you want to pop a question in our Q&A, please feel free to do so. I'm actually going to stop sharing so that we can see more of your face.
Yeah, Emily, the first question, which I'm sure you've heard before, is where does the name Boichik come from?
Boichik. So Boichik is a Yiddish word. It's generally spelled with a Y instead of an I, and it means cute little boy. So when I decided to do this, I wanted a name. I wanted it to be thematically Jewish because that's what bagels are, and it's a big part of my Jewish upbringing. And I had this really great moment many years ago when after I cut my hair super short and went home and was going to see my grandmother for the first time, and I was a bit nervous about what she would say. And she took one look at me and she said, "Oh, you're such a boy chick. Are you having your bar mitzvah soon?" And it was really sweet. And then so I thought about that because I'm like, I wish I could have like maybe something Yiddish, and then something with a B, because that would work with bagels really well. And that came to me and I was like, that's it. There's my name.
Oh, I
Love
love
it. See, Mara McLaughlin is asking, do you have a business and or baking background?
No. So my background is mechanical engineering. So I like to make stuff and I like to figure stuff out. So the baking I did was, yeah, I just learned to bake just to make the bagels I was trying to make. I had never really done much of any baking before. Business, I don't have any formal training in business. I've always had an interest in business. And then every few years I would think about getting an MBA and then be like, no, I don't know. That feels like a lot of work or a lot of tuition. I did take a few MBA classes while I was in grad school. But I've always had an interest and I played the markets and I've read a ton of business books. And I like to say all the simulation games I grew up playing, simulation and strategy games like SimCity and Civilization, were really key and very fundamental to kind of how I think about business and how I run this company today. But business is all numbers. It's money, dollars flowing in and dollars flowing out, and making sure that the bucket is not empty at any point. And yeah, so it's math and I'm good at math.
Well, also, this is my question because you walked me through this. Your mechanical engineering background had you essentially design the bagel manufacturing equipment that is in your facility, isn't that right?
Yeah, well, yes. Well, not design, but not design from, some people are like, oh, you made this from scratch. And I didn't make it from scratch, but I was friendly with Bake Tech is this bagel equipment manufacturer who happens to be in Livermore, an hour away from here. And I had met with these guys and I became friendly with them. And I had said, like, as I was thinking I want to build this factory, talking to them, I'm like, okay, I want this, 2-lane machine. We're going to do this. I want this automation. I want this automation. Then I said, okay, now I want to lay it out. I designed the factory around this machine basically. And I said, I want to lay the machine out so that it has a great view for the customer because we have our on-site cafe. So I put in this huge glass window so that people could watch this because I thought it was so cool and fascinating to watch. So we really kind of designed the layout of it to give the best viewing experience to my customers who are munching on their bagel and are watching tomorrow's bagels get rolled out in front of them. And then found this other company, Apex automation, doing the articulated arm robotics, and talked to them and had that integrated with my line so that it can pick the boards up at the end of the line and put them in a rack. So that saves a ton of manual labor and kind of repetitive stress injury potential, and just really boring, tedious and not fun work. So yeah, so putting all that together, it's more like engineering project management versus me, going in and programming the robot myself. But it is engineering. And I say I'm doing engineering. I consider myself a bagel engineer, but yeah, we're pushing. That's the nice thing. It's this field has not had a lot of engineering applied to it for a while. So that's what I'm doing now, pushing it forward.
So Tom Rosen of Rosen's Bagels in Austin, Texas, has a question for you. I think you answered the second question about kind of choosing the equipment you've gotten for growth. But he mentioned he's spoken to you in the past. He's thrilled with your success, that he has 2 stores and looking to get into growth mode. He's asking a question about what divider former you went with. This sounds like deep bagel trade secrets. Is that what that
No,
is?
it's not a trade secret. What I have now is a 2-lane from Big Tech. And what I had at my first store is a piston divider former. What is the company? From AM Manufacturing. So that's kind of a normal retail bagel shop size machine.
Got it. Dr. Lynn Ware said it's very touching about your grandmother.
I loved that too. I thought that was very special. I agree, Lynn.
And then Stephen Huss is looking for you to do something in reverse. He wants to know if you have any plans to come to the East Coast, specifically the Philly suburbs where there are terrible bagels, and that he's craving your pumpernickel, but he understands that you don't ship.
We do ship.
You did so, Stephen?
We're not shipping that. Actually, we're not shipping the pumpernickel right now, but we could anyway. But we are mailing. It's not the same. Getting the bagels mailed is not the same as having them fresh in the store, but we are shipping bagels. We could. It's I have some big ideas, and I want to do some. I feel like I'm just getting started with this, and there's a lot of potential. I don't have any definite plans to come to Philly, but it's a possibility.
Ooh,
But
I like to
first up, we're gonna go. We've now like really kind of officially spread. We've officially taken over. We're all over the Bay Area, and next stop is LA, and then we're gonna see what happens after that.
Ooh, I feel like that's the next part of the next SMBX raise, possibly.
Well, what I really want is if the LA expansion goes well, we're gonna start with like a small, basically even like using the original machine, and start down there. But if that goes well and the wholesale distribution goes well, where it looks like we can really crank that up and really start getting the 6-packs distributed nationwide, then I want to build another factory that's actually much larger and much more automated, where I'm doing now, pushing the envelope in bagel technology further, and I've got ideas for that. And that would be a heap of money, and then I will, come back and do another raise, maybe for several $1 million.
I love that. That's like bagel AI. It's like the next forefront. How exciting. Well, we've really had such a lively conversation. Peter, I don't know if we have time for like one more question or comment. We're really running on the end of our time here.
I think a couple other questions have Emily pretty much answered. So
Okay.
I think we're good here.
Awesome. Well, Emily, this is your time. Is there anything you'd like to say to your investors specifically?
Thank you. Thank you for everyone who's trusted me and believed in me so far and has lent me money. It's money is needed to build these things, and I don't take it for granted. So it is very much appreciated, and thank you.
I love it. Like I said earlier, there's not many times in life that you can actually taste your investment. So I encourage everyone on on the Bay and the West Coast coming to LA, all of those places, get your taste on in your investment, and look for the upcoming. Well, don't worry, you all are in the VIP club here, so you'll be the first ones to find out what Emily's doing next if she comes on the SMBX again. And we're just so thankful for everyone participating today. Thank you, Emily, for being our first guest host for the SMBX Meet the Small Biz. This is going to be a series that we do with our small business owners that have raised on the SMBX, and gives them an opportunity to share a little bit about what they've been up to since they've raised on the platform. And if anyone has any questions about SMBX, would like to raise, or any questions on investing, you can reach us at hello@thesmbx.com.